Keep it in mind, her dance teacher said that dancing is not her thing. You do everything well, but actually it's not it. It was either blackout or emotional dance or imitation. Fed up of it, and it was like, just take accordion in your hands. And this was also another insight that I had. Can you imagine? I was dancing, and then suddenly I got this feeling like, oh my God, I'm a goddamn Frankie Martinez. Brain wants to control everything, and he sends signal to the muscles so they get tensed. Hello, my dear guys. My name is Svetlana Rey. I'm a salsa mentor, dancer, psychologist, and also dance teachers coach. I've been dancing and teaching salsa for more than 15 years, and I've decided to create this podcast for salsa nerds like me to make your salsa way guys more joyful and to bring you as fast as possible to the top social dancers list so that you get the best from what salsa can actually offer. In this episode today, we're going to talk about emotions and your subconscious and the way those things influence your learning process. This insight actually has happened just recently to me when I was teaching Nastya. Nastya is my friend and also my business partner. We used to run our dance school together, and she has very crazy history, I would say, because when she was a kid, her mom brought her to the dance classes, and her dance teacher, keep it in mind, her dance teacher said that dancing is not her thing. She's not meant to be a dancer, and she had trauma and she didn't dance for more than 20 years. And then when we met at the university, she asked me to teach her dancing. But at the first private, I realized that she cannot even actually walk nicely because she was like very heavily stomping through the floor. Like it just looked painful. So I remember I was actually teaching her how to walk. So we began with the very basics, but she was perfect. She's still perfect at following the instructions. So everything that I gave her to train, she trained it exactly how I told her. And that was amazing. And that helped her a lot to improve very quickly. So she learned first solo salsa, then she learned salsa as a follower, then she learned salsa as a leader. And then she started to teach salsa after a few years. And also, of course, she continued training. Now she's a salsa teacher, a very great one. She has a lot of courses. I'm super proud of her. We had one class. And at this class, she asked me to work on her coordination because it wasn't perfect. When I say coordination, I mean Latin body movement coordination. And you apparently are familiar with that, so you know that it's pretty complicated. You have the movement starts with your foot. You have to press with your foot through the floor, and then it has to go to the knee, and then to the hip, the booty muscles, and then to your ribs, shoulder blades, shoulders, elbow, and then wrist and fingers and everything. And she tried to consciously connect all those things, and she was dancing basic step with the Latin body movement coordination. And I clearly remember this moment when I watched her and I was like, you do everything well, but actually it's not it. You don't have the movement. And in that moment I realized that coordination is such a difficult process, so you can't actually manage it consciously because our brain simply is not capable to connect all those things consciously. In this moment, I realized that I always was fan of this, learning process when you're just consciously following the instructions. But in this particular moment, I realized that apparently to learn dancing, it's not enough. We have to use our subconscious too, because apparently subconscious, the thing that aligns tons of complicated processes together. We have two hemispheres in our brain. Left is more connected to logic and everything. Right is more connected to abstract things, so we need to use both in order to learn well. And in my experience, this using the right hemisphere just happened in three ways. It was either blackout or emotional dance or imitation. And I'm going to tell you about those three things. Blackout happens on the Congress when dancers, they just dance all 3 days and 3 nights long. They have workshops during the day or day social, and at night they dance as well. They also drink, and it just turned out to be a complete mess for brain, because brain gets so tired and overwhelmed by the amount of information that it gets. So it just shuts down at some point. And I heard, these are my favorite stories. Like I meet a dancer who was like not very well coordinated in a Latin feeling, yeah? And then he just doing it well. And I was like, how did you do that? He was like, I just remember myself Sunday morning at 5 o'clock in Croatia somewhere. I just felt it suddenly. And I was like, wow. So that's the first way, just to get your brain exhausted so that you consciously you just are not able to control things. And then your subconscious takes over and you have the chance to align all the data and all the experience that you got in all the trainings before. Emotional thing happens when you apply right hemisphere to direct your movement. The very easy example, we had a teacher's training. You already know that I train teachers. And they had a very nice task. We showed them the paintings that just showed whatever, the different random, either they were girls in sauna, it was medieval. It's not sauna, it's banya, Russian, with the pots of water and everything. Or like some people during the picnic in medieval Italy or something like this. And they had to so there was one guy watching the picture and he had to make all the members of the training stand exactly in the same posture like is represented on the painting. And of course, nobody saw the painting except of one person, so he had to be very clear with his instructions. And there was once a guy on a painting, he was sitting and holding an accordion in his arms. He was playing accordion and he had his arms spread out like this. And the teacher who did the exercise, he was trying to explain one guy how to spread the arms exactly in the same way. And he was telling him like elbows down, like do fists and then turn them like to the ceiling, and like he tried to give some instructions, but it would never work because the guy wouldn't understand like how he should spread the arms and how he should hold the elbows or rotate his fist. Like it just didn't work. And then the guy who was explaining, he just got fed up of it and it was like, just take accordion in your hands. And the guy was just doing the right movement. So some images, they are connected with different parts of our brain. That's why, for example, I adore a lot of teachers who are able to pick up a perfect image to explain some feeling of movement. And it's really brilliant. In my opinion, it's a talent and art because indeed, like if you're able to provide the right image, the movement is built absolutely correctly. Right away, instantly. And this is really short way, but you have to be able to create those images or to make them for yourself. Another example of emotions driving the movement I got in my musicality marathon when I decided once to give some extra tasks just to give them better connection with the music. Because musicality marathon has very clear dry tasks, like you have to put clave on the basic or something like this. And I missed this a little emotion and fun part. So I gave him a bunch of tasks. And one task was to play your favorite song, not salsa, just any favorite song from your youth or crazy teenage years, and sing it like in the movies, people just take a dio instead of a microphone or a hairbrush instead of a microphone and they just start singing and like pretending that they're singers. So I gave them this task, and one of my students, I just got shocked because when he tried to build up the movement consciously, it looked a little strange. But then he played his favorite song and he was doing pretty much the same movements, but they looked so harmonic and aligned. So I truly got shocked. And I was like, look at you. You just don't care. Like you don't try to control the movement with your brain. You just let emotions overtake. And immediately your movements get very harmonic. And this was also another insight that I had. Like you just have to let emotions overtake your movement. And you will see that, they will build it up very nicely. The third example that I had is the imitation. I sometimes give my students tasks to repeat the movement after the dancer or the teacher that they like. I just say, play a video when your teacher or when this dancer does like a routine, and just try to imagine that you are him or her and just do it like she does it. Just try to follow the feeling. Of course, I don't do it from the very beginning. You have to have the conscious data. Yeah, if you naturally can copy the movements easily, you don't need the podcast at all. But if you can't, then you have to collect all the conscious data about how to move your hips, how do your booty muscles work, and then how to move your ribs and how to connect all those things. But to actually connect it, you might use this exercise because it might help. So just watch somebody you like and try to become a copy of this person. And then your brain, of course, will start searching for the ways how to look the same. And then, of course, he will start recalling the data that you collected during your classes. And then, of course, one time it will click, yeah, because your brain is like, this is what it means to turn the hip like this, or to open the pelvis, or like to put the shoulder blade down, or this is what the shelf means. I had a very funny example about this imitation thing when I was at the Congress in Moscow. So there was he was already a teacher. He's a great dancer and amazing teacher from Moscow. And we danced at the party, and we danced Nawahuda by Fania. By Richie Ray and Bobby Cruz, which is like super fast song, but like super stuffed with accents and nice moments. So we got really on fire. And then after the dance, the dance was amazing. And after the dance, he came to me and he was like, Svetlana, can you imagine? I was dancing. And then suddenly I got this feeling like, oh my God, I'm a goddamn Frankie Martinez. And he was like really like imitating the movement and feeling it in a way how kind of he imagined Frankie Martinez would feel it. So this is the state that allowed him to align again and align the data that he had collected through all the years. Even though this episode will be very small, I still decided to make it because I see a lot of students of mine liking to over-control things. Even in real life, sometimes I watch the video and I'm like, you seem to be a person who likes to control things. And I see them like smiling or like responding with a voice message like, yes, it's exactly about me. Because I just see it in the way they execute the tasks. And also, if you have this issue but you don't even suspect that, you might check your muscle tonus. So people who really tend to over-control things and to work only with the logical part of their brain, they very often have this over-tensed muscles throughout all the body. And also the movements look a bit stiff, and also they have pain in the neck very often, and probably they think that is because of the laptop work, but not. It's because brain wants to control everything, and he sends signal to the muscles so they get tensed. And this is what leads, of course, to some problems because muscles shouldn't be tensed all the time. And when you dance, if you're this type of person, you can see that your movements get stiff, of course. And if you're this type of person, you can see that it will be very difficult to achieve this harmony and naturality of the movement. Because, again, I already explained, consciously, there are some things that you just simply are not able as a human to achieve consciously. You have to let your subconscious do this and take over. But it's difficult for those people to release the control. And the solution for this situation is to include, I call it dance it out moments in your training. Dance it out means that you don't control anything, don't try to make it perfect, don't try to make it well, don't try to do any specific technique or feel any specific technique, you just have to enjoy the dance. And I suggest to include this type of training in your training every time. So every time when you train, try to dedicate some time to the technique and to actually execute the task. But then, at the end, play your favorite song and just dance it out. Just enjoy. Try to feel your body. Try to follow your body. For example, sometimes I see that my students, they start doing one movement and they loop it. And I can see that the body is starting to ask for more. Like, what if we can incline here a little bit more? Or what if we can groove here a little deeper? And just because they looped and they were following the body, they already explore wider angle of the movement. And this is what happens. And it doesn't happen when you consciously control because you have the task and you follow the task. So those things, when you just dance it out, play your favorite song and just let yourself go, they are really helpful. Also, I suggest if you like somebody to repeat after, as I already said, like, for example, if when you're a festival, you take, I don't know, the class of Rodrigo Cortazar, and because he's like super energetic and you like his attitude, just try to imagine for a quick second, nobody will ever notice that you're Rodrigo, and like, I want to move like Rodrigo, like make it very masculine and with sabor and everything. And you will see that just switching to this simple thought will help you a lot to maybe get rid of some tension, or like to adjust a little your movements. It will start working differently. You will see it, and it's just very minor change of your mindset. Or another chance, I mean, this is like for very tough cases, you just get yourself so much exhausted so that you're just unable to control. For example, I had one friend who said when they were young, they made a goal, if I'm not mistaken, to make 100 dances or 1,000 dances. No, I don't think 1,000 would be too much, but 100 dances, I guess, during the party or during the whole weekend, I don't remember. But it was like a very grand goal to achieve. And they got exhausted, absolutely, because they had to dance like every whatever song, almost with no break. But this is, again, another way to achieve this state when your brain is like, just, I give up, I don't care, and I just let it go. And then your subconscious is like, now it's my turn to dance. So try to get in touch with your playful self, with your inner child. Try to get in touch with your body, because it's not because it's just nicer, even though it is like this. I'm just now addressing all the rational people. I'm also a very rational person, so I understand you. I understand that you want to get a perfect technique and then maybe to let yourself go and to dance it out. But I claim officially that it's not the best way actually to learn, because you need the help of your subconscious. So try to accept this thing and let yourself dance it out every time. If you're worried about opinion of others, just lock yourself in your room and just dance out by yourself. Or go to the party, get drunk and dance it out. So, however, just try to, not think, but feel. Feel your movement, feel your body. And also, especially when you learn every movement in a choreo, for example, or in the routine, try to do like 2 steps scanning. First, you do the conscious thing, like, okay, you follow the clues of the movement, like you know which count it is, which leg, where is the weight, where is the coordination, where are the arms, but then scan it in terms of feeling. Okay, does it feel good? Because sometimes people just miss it. I have a very nice example of my students from the spinning marathon, which, like, I mean, it's kind of funny, but at the same time, I can see that they really don't use the subconscious thing, like the feeling. So I gave them the very first task of the spinning marathon is just to create the correct posture. And for that, they have to remember 7 words. They put the shoulder blades and then they lift the elbows so that they have the good support of the arms. Then they move the upper body forward. Then they contract, then they bend the knees, then they stand on one leg, make sure that the weight is pushing through the balls of the foot, and then they have to slide. So it's like step by step creating the posture. So there was a moment when they actually have to like move in the chest forward, and then they have to contract, and then they have to bend the knee. And in these three steps, a lot of them were over exaggerating. So they would just incline so much forward, and then they would contract so strongly, and then they would like bend the knee so strongly so that the booty would just hang and stick out so far away in the back. And like you clearly see that it's not comfortable for them. It's just really not comfortable even to watch you, But they were still doing it because they were clearly believing that they are doing the correct, like maximum correct thing of what you can do. Yeah. And here you can see it's a clear example that subconscious and conscious are not working together. So try to, every time when you learn a movement, scan it with 2 steps. First, conscious, whether you do the structure movement correctly, but then the feeling. The movement has to feel good, because a lot of people worldwide doing this move, that means that probably it's safe and it has to feel good, because otherwise they wouldn't be doing it. And it has to look good, because when it feels good, most of the time that means that the technique is correct. That means that it looks good too. So allow your feelings to scan the movement and to feel the naturality of the movement. Guys, if you have any questions, any thoughts, Any insights, please share them in the comments. And also, I will be very grateful if you post a story with your insights and tag me, because I love those posts very, very much. And you'll support a lot the podcast and everything what I do to make this salsa world a little bit more pleasant for dancers. And enjoy the podcast. This was the last episode of the season. And when I come up with new ideas, if you have any ideas for the episodes of podcast, please contact me too. I'll record it next season. So far, enjoy your training, enjoy your dancing, and have fun.